Hi. So people on Reddit tried to cancel me over a headcanon for a Kipo character. People tried to call me predatory. They tried to say that a 14-year-old who doesn't experience sexual attraction to anything was being predatory towards children. The internet is quite a place. I will give you full context, do not worry. I am wearing my Billions and Billions Kipo shirt in honor of this beautiful, remarkable event. So, for context, I run a forum. I don't know if you guys know that. I have a forum, and I occasionally post things on there, just like little articles sharing my thoughts on certain things. And I usually take a link to that and put those to related subreddits. I want to start a conversation about something, but I want to do it through my own personal website so it doesn't get taken down, because some subreddits have stupid rules and will take anything down. So just for my own sanity, if I'm writing out a lengthy article, I post it to my own forum, but to start a conversation within those fandoms and whatnot, I cross-post like a link to subreddits. Does that make sense? So I wrote this article. You can pause, or I'll leave it in the description, or you don't have to do either because I'm about to summarize it. Basically explaining that as an aromantic person, I really appreciate how Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts show doesn't have a huge focus on romance. I also clarifying the thing that I don't mind romance in shows. I'm a She-Ra fan. Obviously, I like it to some extent. Obviously, I'm not bothered by romance if I'm making a, compilation video of Kiyone and Mahoshi being high-key very gay in Tenchi Universe. Ugh, why do I always have to fight people I agree with?
Get out there, tough guy.
Ida, how did you get out?
I had some help.
Your little boyfriend made you breakfast.
He's not my boyfriend.
Sure.
I had a boyfriend too. Me and him would sit on the edge of a cliff some nights, just looking out on the small town we lived in.
Hey, Todd, you ready to go?
I see. When a handsome, flawless devil calls for help, you deliver.
And Raphael. And also Randall.
You like those two, don't you?
What? No, we're just friends.
Welcome to another episode of
John, come here.
We're going to talk about...
You're usually with Randy.
He also has a nickname?
Here you go, guys.
Thanks. Nice. By the way, what's the red-haired dude's name? He's kind of cute.
Not really.
Oh, really? I thought you liked red hair. No? Guess you and Randall would never work out.
Randall and Jasper both agree with you, though.
Fight your own battles, Todd. I'm just trying to recruit your little boyfriend.
Todd ever mentioned me?
It doesn't matter.
Please. I want to know I still mean something to him.
Ref, ref.
Coming!
Do you have any outside friends, Ida?
I wouldn't consider Christine to be a friend exactly, but I mean we're close, but I don't spend much time in here since I'm on duty most of the time, so it's not as decorative as it probably should be.
Well, I think it's perfect.
Thanks.
Where are the boys?
Those two lovebirds? Out with some friends.
Are they a thing yet?
Somehow, no.
Are we?
I'm gonna go with a yes.
You should have stayed here instead of going off with your little boyfriend.
He's not my boyfriend.
Shut up!
So obviously I'm not bothered by romance, but it is cool to see a show that just focuses more on platonic love and doesn't have the main character in any sort of romantic thing. That's not what people were mad about. People were mad because of this tiny snippet at the end of, the very bottom of the thing, which I'll put a full snippet on screen. I'll read it right now. I personally also headcanon Wolf as Aero Ace, as she's the only of the main characters, aside from Dave, I guess, though I don't get a vibe from him, to never show any interest in being in a relationship like that. Benson, of course, is dating and showing the show, and Kipo has also displayed romantic interest towards him in Season 1, which led to his coming out scene. Wolf never seems interested in that, and is not in a relationship during the time skip, so that's my headcanon for her. I probably could have worded it better, but in my defense, I didn't know I was gonna get attacked for a headcanon. What I was trying to put emphasis on was the time skip where, she's like 15 or 16, which is older than me, by the way. I'm 14. Because even in this time skip when she's 15 or 16, she's not with anybody. That's like my main reasoning for this headcanon, but people got mad. As somebody in one of these threads will point out later, a lot of it does seem to be aphobia masked as like worrying for children, which, you know, seems to be a weirdly common thread in discriminatory groups. Like the whole TERF ideology of, oh no, we're not transphobic, we're just feminists. And it's like, you can be a feminist and stand up for women's rights without putting down trans people. Like, those two things don't correlate, but people got mad. And I'm gonna go through 3 threads, because there were 3 main threads about this on Reddit. So all the names are going to be blocked out, as I tend to do when I do these sorts of videos where I'm reviewing comments. If you find this thread and whatever, and you try to attack these people, I'm not going to be proud of you. Don't do that. It's over a fictional character to avoid any sort of things happening, because I don't want anything bad to happen to any of these people. You get it. The names are blocked out. So this first person says, genuinely not trying to be rude here, and I also appreciate the lack of romance in Kipo because it's important to prove romance is not necessary to make a great show, especially in a show with a female lead. But Wolf is literally 10. Can we please stop equating children with sex? The Aero Ace comment. Representation is important, of course, but there shouldn't be any assumption of a child's sexual wants or lack thereof. This will come up repeatedly throughout this video, but you do notice that the only time I mentioned anything about asexuality in this post was with the headcanon umbrella term Aero Ace. And the thing I think a lot of people just don't seem to realize is that headcanons aren't always super put together and thought out. Like, yeah, I have lots of evidence and reasoning for my Lars is trans headcanon, or Lake is non-binary. But then there's other ones where I'm just like, that fits. Like trans Leo, promare. Are there things in the movie that directly contradict this? Yes. But also, it's a headcanon. It's not supposed to be taken super seriously. A lot of headcanons that people have aren't super thought out or have a bunch of reasoning behind them. The reasoning for headcanons is usually just, hey, I relate to this character on some level, or, hey, I could see it. Like, it's not a super thought out thing, so the fact that people are like, oh my god, you said that your umbrella term for the headcanon is Aero Ace, which means you put a lot of deep thought into the sexual preferences of a child, even though you yourself are asexual and would go out of your way to avoid talking about that.
I like how this person is calling me predatory, and yet they are the one who said, you're the only one who said anything about sex.
So again, I responded, I didn't really do that, and I was specifically talking about after the time skip. Also, I myself am 14. Like, I get what you mean, but I really didn't do that. Like, don't get me wrong, I do get the general gist of what they're saying. I'm not stupid brain. Like, I could see if you see a thing with the word sexual in the full name, we're talking about a child, yeah, that looks bad, but also, did you read the article? Because what? Also, I don't know if I have to point this out, but asexuality means not sexual.
No, asexual, not sexual.
I really don't get these people are like, oh my god, you're sexualizing a child, and I'm like, I'm actually doing the opposite. So then this person replies with, okay, I didn't realize your age, so I'm not going to send you a ton of stuff, and I'm not trying to undermine you in any way. I guess it's just important. This person then continues by continuing to harass me about this, and the rest of the people I wouldn't consider harassment, but this person is just kind of like arguing with me and calling me predatory this entire time. And also, there is a lot of condescension. I get that a lot in a lot of these comment threads. If you watch the thing about the Shadow Weaver one, you'll also notice there's a lot of condescension in that video from that person. Go ahead and pick and choose what you think is right and wrong. You're being condescending, and I think it's because I'm a child, because I don't know why anyone else, what other reason they would have to be so condescending. So anyways, continuing with this person popping off on me. But one, she's in the age skip for less than a minute. Yeah, and in that minute, we get a fair bit of like, hey, this is what's going on with her. You do notice that with other characters, like we see Benson and Troy's relationship is going well, and we also see background elements like Label and Zane started a gym and stuff, so you get a bit of an update as to how everybody's interpersonal relationships are doing. So I think it's fair to say, yeah, Wolf isn't in a relationship. 2, you referenced her behavior throughout the series when she's 10. Again, I could have written it better, but again, I didn't know it was going to be canceled by Reddit. Jesus Christ. Guess what? Headcanons come from projection. If I relate to a character, I'm gonna headcanon it. I literally run a headcanon account with my friend Lena on Instagram. I really appreciate LGBT headcanons. As a young child, I always felt out of place because all the people around me were like, oh my god, I want to date people. And I was just like, I would rather not. I didn't even talk about the asexual thing, and as I've stated, that's just more of an umbrella term. I haven't done any whatever deep sexual thoughts about a child that you seem to be thinking I'm doing. I just relate to a character, god damn it. Just let me relate to a goddamn character. Why are you guys making it so complicated? The actions of a 10-year-old child shouldn't be proof of lack of sexual attraction because nobody should be thinking about a child like that. I wasn't thinking about a child like that. What? Again, I never brought up the asexual thing outside of just me saying I headcanon her as Aero Ace. So putting like your little quote things around lack of sexual attraction is misleading because I literally didn't say that. You can read the article. Also, again, I'm not thinking about a child in a sexual way. Also, it's a fictional character. There are just so many layers. You have too many plot holes in your argument. To see someone as asexual, you have to question your interest in sex. No, you don't. Like I said, not all headcanons have a bunch of deep thought put behind them. I'm very self-aware that not all of my headcanons align with the canon and the things. That's why they're called headcanons, because they're not actually canon. And no, I don't have to question a child's interest in sex. Why would I want to do that? I go out of my way to avoid the topic of sex as much as possible. I don't want to talk about it. The only time it ever comes up is when I'm making dirty jokes because I am horrible, or in videos like this where I'm being called predatory. Like, I'm never just sitting alone and I'm like, man, you know that one 10-year-old child from that one children's show? I wonder if she ever has sexual feelings. I don't do that. No one does that. If you do that, you may be a pedophile. No one does that. That's just not a thing. Headcanons on YouTube? Yeah, people are putting thought into those because those are the ones that are video worthy. But just like a normal headcanon, it's usually doesn't have a ton of evidence or reasoning behind it. It just comes from if you get a vibe or if you relate to somebody. It's not that deep. To see someone as asexual, you have to question your interest in sex, and I can't believe I have to say that, but that's not appropriate. I didn't do that. Yeah, if I was sitting down and having a deep talk with myself over, has this 10-year-old character ever had those feelings? Yeah, that's creepy, but also literally not a thing I'm doing, or even implying that I'm doing, and I didn't even talk about the asexual part in the post. Headcanon her as Aero all you want, especially if it helps you relate. So clearly, you have a comprehension of what a headcanon is, and yet here we are. But the ace part doesn't need to be there. You know what also doesn't need to be here? This thread. It's very unnecessary. Yes, I, the 14-year-old asexual child who would avoid any topic of sex in like a serious discussion as much as possible, am predatory. I'm sexualizing children. Come at me. I'm horrible. I know. I'm the worst. People confuse and annoy me. And then this person defends a point that nobody made against them. It's almost as if they know that what they're saying is high-key aphobic. And no, this isn't harming the LGBT plus community. None of those identities, when attached to a child, have to involve any thought to sex. So, you may be wondering, where's the aphobia, Tyler? The LGBT, they forgot the plus, and I think it's apparent why. The LGBT plus community does include asexual and aromantic people. And I know a lot of people get mad about that, and I don't know why. They're like, oh, why are you celebrating something you're not?
Whether valid or not, asexuality and aromantic and everything akin to it are rather useless identity labels. They're terribly abstract, and to build a sense of self around a lack of interest or lack of an experience mostly just is nonsensical and pointless. It also has no legitimate place of representation in the LGBT community as an identifier, just like not really liking soccer doesn't belong there.
The LGBT plus community is just like anything that's not straight. And guess what? If you're not sexually attracted or romantically attracted to anybody, you're not straight.
Hello, just here to clarify something. You can be hetero-romantic, so straight in that way, but also asexual, and that would put you in the LGBT community. You can also be heterosexual, so straight in that way, but aromantic, and that would also put you in the LGBT plus community. A similar way, like you can be bisexual but heteroromantic, and while romantically you're straight, you'd still be in the LGBT plus community because of your sexual orientation.
Straight is when you're attracted to the opposite gender, and being attracted to no one is not straight. What they're saying is inherently aphobic. Because they're saying that asexuality, you have to put thought into sex into it. And then they're going on to say that the LGBT plus community doesn't involve that. It's the asexual erasure for me. It's the lack of self-awareness for me, hun. It's the hypocrisy for me. It's the blatant aphobia disguised as worrying for children for me. Anyways, continuing on with this thread, because dear lord, I have zero patience in humanity at this point. Then I respond, I didn't mention lack of sexual attraction. Literally the only time I mentioned anything about her being asexual was when I said I headcanon her as aro ace. I didn't put any thought into the asexual part. I don't care. Why would I do that to myself, honestly? Like, why would I myself sit down and be like, oh, I'm gonna try to sexually analyze a child? Hey, you know sex, that one thing that you want to avoid, Tyler? No, you have to do it if you want to relate to a character. This person doesn't know what asexuality means. Like, you're getting angry over something I literally didn't talk about. I only put arrow haste because I tend to associate those closely to each other. It comes to the flag account, honestly. I feel wrong just doing an asexual or just aromantic flag. If I feel like that person's not attracted to anybody, I'm not just going to put aromantic or just asexual. I'm going to put arrow ace. If I feel like this character is asexual but has romantic feelings, or doesn't have romantic feelings but does have sexual feelings, then I'll put one or the other. But if in my brain I'm just like not attracted to anybody, I'm gonna put an arrow ace thing, because that's what arrow ace is.
In my mind, if I were to just put aromantic, that would imply that there's something sexual going on, and this is a child, so obviously no. But if I just put arrow ace, it's like, okay, she's not attracted to anybody.
So this person pops off even more because apparently that wasn't enough harassment and condensation. Condensation? What? What's the word? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Condescending?
I was half asleep when I recorded this. The word is condescension.
So this person pops off and says, yeah, and arrow ace means lack of sexual attraction. You notice how they completely ignored the fact where I was like, hey, I didn't really mention the asexual thing, and then they are continuing to focus on the thing that I literally just said I don't care about. So by saying ace, that's what you mean. Don't tell me what I mean. Based off of this person's overall way of speaking to me and talking about asexuality in general, I don't think this person is asexual or aromantic. This aloe person is dumbing down what asexuality is to an asexual person. Like, if I said this person is a lesbian, I wouldn't need to say they like the same gender, because that's what the word means. You may not have gone in depth. So this person is aware that I am not putting a bunch of deep thought into this. And they've also seemed to be aware of the fact, because they're clearly comprehending what I'm writing, that I didn't focus on the asexual thing, and yet this person is continuing to talk down to me. The association itself shouldn't be something that should be done. That's all. Why are you so mad about it? A, it's a goddamn headcanon over a goddamn fictional character. B, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not asexual or aromantic, because if you are, then those are some very weird opinions you have about yourself, my friend. So you're talking down to me, even though you specifically said you wouldn't do that. So you're lying at this point. Okay, I didn't realize your age, so I'm not going to send you a ton of stuff, and I'm not trying to undermine you in any way. I guess it's just important. It's just overall a lot of yikes. But then we end off the thread with me saying, yeah, but again, that's literally the only time asexuality came up in a post, and again, that's only my headcanon because I associate the two so closely. The person responds, yeah, and that alone is inappropriate. That's the whole point. Guys, me having a headcanon of a character who at the main point I'm trying to refer to is older than me is inappropriate and predatory. Wow, I'm such a predator. Me just sexualizing all these little kids. Truly disgusting. And then I replied, it's really not, my guy, especially considering my main point is a time skip in which she would be older than I am right now. So that was the first thread. We're already like a good 25 minutes into filming this, and we're only on the first thread. It's truly phenomenal. So, just so you're aware, that was the most, like, bad thread, as in the person in there was like genuinely rude and condescending to me, they get progressively better. So this person seems to still kind of disagree with me on several things. We kind of move out of the lane of the main conversation, but they're like respectful to me, you know? So this new person says, pretty sure Wolf was 10 years old, a literal elementary schooler who grew up alone and without knowing any kids her age. Her lack of romantic interest is attributed to her being so young and having no one to have romantic interest in. She's too young to determine if she's aromantic. So this person isn't even bringing up the asexual thing, thank God, but they are bringing the whole, she's too young to determine if she's aromantic, which I disagree with. I think somebody brings it up later, but I feel like elementary schoolers, they do. People there do date or like have that types of interests and are like, oh my god, who do you have a crush on? Oh my god, Michael is like so cute.
Hello, post-production Tyler here to hop in and say something that I think in canon directly contradicts their point. So, Benson, as we know, he was the last of his people.
Well, I will, because I have to. Because no one else is coming for me, because I'm the last Dave, so there.
I'm the last two.
Despite probably only knowing Dave for most of his life, he still was able to be like, I am a queer.
You like me as a friend?
Yes! Because I'm gay.
And I think he was younger than Wolf when he was the last one, so he really didn't have a lot of human interaction as far as we're aware of. He still was able to be like, I'm gay, this is who I'm attracted to. So I disagree with this person's point, and I think the canon of the show also does.
This is aphobia, but it's not as blatant or as mean. I think it's just like unconscious aphobia. Like, I don't think this person is actively against ace people or like heavily disagrees with ace people. They just don't seem to understand humans. So then I replied, I disagree based on personal experience. I'm 14, I identify as aro ace. I've never thought of that stuff even as the kids around me were talking about wanting partners. Also, I'm mentioning the time skip for a reason, because she would literally be older than me. So then this person pops off and I don't remember about what. I mean, I guess, but I think you were overestimating how much people want partners. It doesn't really take up people's thoughts all of the time. Now, if it sounds like I'm overestimating, it's because I don't know what it feels like to be that type of person, because I am the exception. I think about it none of the time, so of course I'm gonna feel like people think about it a lot just because people talk about it a lot. The want for it kind of just appears when you are alone and there's nothing to really think about after you reach a certain age. When you are younger, like Wolf pre-time skip age, you tend to seek non-romantic companionship, which Wolf did. People in elementary school definitely date each other. Obviously it's not like serious dating. Elementary school dating isn't serious. I'm not trying to claim that that's like a level of like a high schooler or an adult dating or anything. But they are interested in each other and they will be like, oh my god, me and Mikey went to like the park together the other day and we felt so close. The time skip itself was only a small slice of their life, and typically most people aren't even thinking about relationships for most of the time. The need to get into a relationship doesn't consume them or anything as it is often depicted. Thank you for dumbing down romantic people to me. And that sounds sarcastic just because I am sarcastic literally all of the time, but that is genuine. I don't know how you people function. At 14 too, it is pretty common to not really want a partner. That's invalidating my identity, but okay. That's just like wiping away a lot of self-discovery and deep thought I put into myself and what I want in life, and just chalking it up to my age, but okay.
In a recent survey conducted by the Trevor Project, it was found that as many as 1 in 10 young queer people identify as aspec. So young ace people definitely do exist and are valid. But is there the chance that they might stop identifying that way later on? Sure. But here's the thing that you might not realise about that. If you stop identifying as ace later on, it doesn't make the time that you did identify that way any less valid.
Personally, I never really wanted a partner until towards the end of high school, and even then it wasn't even visible to everyone. So this person is not aromantic. They might be on the spectrum, but they're not like, they are telling me that they have romantic feelings for people, so I'm just gonna assume they're not aromantic. It is just a very occasional being in a relationship might be nice, or the girl next to me in physics is nice. Everyone is different, and I think personally there isn't enough to depict Wolf as aromantic. There are 3 seasons of Wolf, but that is when she was 10, so yeah, I do agree with you to some extent. But also, she isn't in a relationship in a time skip. And also, I just get a vibe. You would not understand because you are what we call not a heartless monster. You are what we call romantic. So you would not understand what it's like to get a vibe from somebody. It's like a whole meme that's like, is he, you know... Or like how trans people can sense other trans people.
Everyone kind of knew.
Yeah, no, we definitely knew.
Or like how the gays will be like, oh my god, he's wearing socks. That's high-key kind of sus. And then a lot of the time they're right. You don't know how the vibe works because you're not aromantic. You don't get it. If we had another few episodes or seasons where we see more of girl lives post time skip, then we can determine if they're actually aromantic or asexual, but as of now we can't really. It's a headcanon. I'm not stating it to be legitimate in canon. So in the end, I also disagree based on personal experience, because for me and a good chunk of my friends, although we were not aromantic or asexual, you can't object to an aro person's experience by being like, oh, well, I'm not actually aromantic, but here's why you're wrong about your experiences and how you relate to people. Although we were not aromantic or asexual, we did not really visibly think about relationships or yearn to be in one in the slightest. Oftentimes there's also the finding the right person aspect. Until you do find the right person and you won't even have the thought of being in a relationship pop into your head.
I would hope not, because there's a word for that, and it's called cheating.
But this only applies to aromantic people. Am I severely misreading something? If so, let me know, because I am dumb, and I honestly might be dyslexic. A very low level of dyslexia where I just like mix up words a lot, but it's not like a serious thing. I can comprehend things. I've read the entire Harry Potter series. But like high-key, I might need to talk to somebody about this, because I am having a hard time comprehending what the hell I'm reading. But like, am I just being a yikes who can't read, or is this person telling the whole finding the right person thing to me? I'm very confused. If I'm aromantic, I'm not gonna find the right person because I don't feel romantic attraction. But it's only applies to aromantic people. You will still have thoughts about sex pop into your head once in a while if you are not asexual. Ace people can think about sex and can have sexual, like, want to have sex. Asexual just means lack of sexual attraction, which I think a lot of people misunderstand what it is. I'll leave a Ash Hardell video, which I think does a pretty good job kind of explaining what I'm talking about. But asexual people can think about sex and want to have sex. They just don't feel sexual attraction to people.
I don't know why I put emphasis on the word people, because it kind of sounds like I'm advocating for bestiality. Don't pull a Shane Dawson. I just don't feel sexual attraction. I don't know why I put two people in there. Bestiality, necrophilia, all that stuff is bad. Don't do it.
And some of them do. Some of them do, but only on, like, very low levels. It's a whole spectrum. Some asexual people might feel no sexual attraction to anybody and might hate the idea of having sex. Some asexual people might love the idea of having sex, but only have very minimal amounts of sexual attraction. It's a spectrum. You can't just water it down. In the end, though, it is your personal headcanon, and all that matters is what you think matters. It is definitely possible for Wolf to be asexual or aromantic, but in the end, we can't really say one way or another. This might be me nitpicking, but it does bother me that you say it's a personal headcanon of yours, and that's all that matters. But then, like, a sentence later, you're like, well, we can't really say one way or another. And I'm like, does this person not know what a headcanon is? Do these people not know what headcanons are? My entire comment has been super nitpicky, and I kind of went into a ramble, so I'm sorry about that. See, this person is nice and respectful, even if they have undertones of yikes, but I don't think it's meant in a malicious way. I think it's meant in an uneducated way, which I think I did a video of this at one point, where there's a difference between aphobia or transphobia or homophobia and then just being uneducated. And I think that this person is just a bit uneducated on certain things. So then I responded, I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't think you realize how oversaturated romantic plot lines are, even if they are good ones. As somebody who has been in the world and consumed a lot of media in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of romantic plot lines, and I love a lot of them, but they are a lot, and I feel like this person is severely downplaying that. That is true, though I think they are a lot less common in shows meant for young kids like Kipo. I don't agree with that sentiment. The vast majority of kids shows have some romance in them, some more than others, obviously. So I'm just gonna run through, just like on screen, like where the main character is in like a romantic plotline thing.
That's not what you are. It's just how you feel. And this is how I feel.
Bye, Connie. See you soon.
I got my wish.
What, that you can run faster than me?
No, for a cute girlfriend that likes...
You love me. You're such an idiot. I love you too.
a lot of goes are over the course of a series. It's not just episodic. So that is a little debunking with clips. God damn it, that's gonna take forever to edit. And this person replied, well, yeah, there's going to be some romance because shows don't take up a significant portion of time for it. It's done similar to Kipo in the background mostly. Again, I don't agree with that because the thing about Kipo is that the main character herself, Kipo, aside from like her one little thing where she was like, I think I like you to Benson, aside from literally that episode, which led into a thing where she got rejected because he was gay. She didn't have a partner. That was literally the only romantic plotline for her in the entire show.
I think I like you.
Oh. Oh.
You like me as a friend?
Yes! Because I'm gay.
Thank you, though, for just, I don't know, being you? I'm glad we're friends.
People ship her with Asher, they didn't interact. Like, if it's purely, like, fan fiction, it's like crack ships where sometimes it's like, yeah, I guess that could work, but, like, they didn't really interact. That's, like, a main romantic thing involving Kipo herself, and it's not even in the show.
You know, I've been actually talking to some comic book publishers about doing some spin-offs, so if you want to do a
Yeah, I do.
Kipo Asher spin-off, maybe
I
that's,
do, of course. And we get to talk about, like, you know, Asher's little journey.
And while it may not take the main focus of a lot of kid shows, obviously, it's still there with the main characters, which is why Kipo is quite different. So then I replied, I really still don't agree with that. I agree that it rarely is, like, the most important thing, but outside of Kipo, all the kid shows that come to mind have the main characters have some sort of love interest. Well, Kipo does have main characters have some sort of love interest. I'm not talking about Benson. I'm talking about the actual main character, Kipo, who, again, outside of her thing with Benson, which lasted less than one episode out of all 30 episodes. She didn't, so. We still have SpongeBob. I haven't watched enough of SpongeBob to debunk that or not. I've heard mixed things on my asexual video, which in that video I'm also like, I haven't watched SpongeBob enough to know. In all honesty, I haven't seen enough episodes of the show to tell you whether or not I think it's good representation. Infinity Train, none of the main characters have a romantic plotline. I do agree with that, however, I would argue that Lake and Jesse had a romantic plotline. They're friends in the show, but it's like implied that post-show they would be together. I don't know if that counts, but it does feel like there was a romantic thing going on with them.
Okay, so while I was looking for some sort of clip or something, first off, this is the subreddit I'm banned from because of a glitch, but we don't have to talk about that. But somebody posted a screenshot of this Cartoon Network tweet, and it says, who's your favorite ship? Now, for one thing, can we just acknowledge this right here? Does this count as them being canon? Because, like, here for it, but I don't know what this means. But if we scroll down here, we do have Jesse and Lake right here. I don't know if this counts them as canon. I know these two are a canon couple. I'm gonna count this as evidence to back up my point.
Over the garden wall, yeah.
Hey, no, not yeah, y'all. I totally forgot about Sarah. Greg had a crush or whatever on Sarah. Sarah was, like, taken.
You coming, Wirt?
No, you go. Have fun with Jason Funderburker.
Counts as a romantic plotline, does it not? My memory just, like, whack? Because he definitely had, like, feelings for Sarah.
Last Kids on Earth, haven't watched it. Hilda, haven't watched it. Invader Zim. Are we really considering Invader Zim entirely a kid's show?
You're a hideous blob of stolen organs. I've been working out.
Gumball, Anais has no romantic interest. I would counteract that because the main character, Gumball, has Penny, and then Darwin has had lots of romantic subplots too. Anais really isn't the main character. The main character is Gumball and Darwin, and they both have romantic interests, so I disagree with your point.
Okay, so a thought came to mind, and it was, isn't Anais quite young? I thought she was like 7 or 8, which I would argue that people at that age do have some sort of feelings, even if, again, it's kind of, like, it's not serious at all. But she's 4 years old. You can't argue that a 10-year-old is too young to have any sort of relationship, and then use a 4-year-old to support your argument that there isn't a lot of romance in shows.
And the Dragon Prince. Haven't watched it. All the shows I listed were at least one of the main characters in the shows no romantic interest in anyone. Okay, but what about the actual main characters? Oh yeah, the little sister didn't have a plotline, so I guess there's no romance in the show. The reasons are almost always one, the characters are too young, two, there is no partner for the character to reasonably appear, three, the show doesn't have room for romance, four, the romance factor is fulfilled with the main characters. So you just said that the main characters have no romantic interest in somebody, but then reason number 4 is that the romantic factor is fulfilled with the main characters. The lack of self-awareness. Sorry for the little mid-video setting change. I recorded 45 minutes of footage, which is about half of this, roughly, whilst at my dad's, but my phone was low on battery and stopped recording the audio, so I had to stop filming, and now I'm back here. So anyways, let's continue. Wolf doesn't seem very out of the ordinary because Wolf herself is very young, has no suitable romantic partners, and has the romance factor of the show taken up by the other characters. There really isn't a lot of romance factor to the show. The romance factor is mainly just Troy and Benson. Your point doesn't make sense. In terms of finding a show with little romance, it usually is not that hard. Fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Find a show where romance straight up doesn't fit into the style of the show. Some of the shows I listed have strong romance in them, but of course they are similar to Kipo, where not all good characters have a romantic interest in someone. My point isn't about how Kipo doesn't have every single character in a relationship. Not everything will be She-Ra. My point is that the main character, specifically, isn't in a relationship. And quite a few of the shows that you listed do have main characters in some sort of relationship. Also, I would argue that Gumball does have a very heavy emphasis on romance. There are a lot of episodes specific to the love stories. In the case of Kipo, it would be odd to have a 4th grader aged member of the group to be struggling with romantic feelings for someone in a show consisting of exclusively children who are about to go into high school. It just wouldn't make sense to focus on it. And while I agree, I don't understand people who are shipping Wolf with like Kipo or the other characters. My point still stands that in the time skip, even when she is like at high school age, she's still not in a relationship. And my point also still stands that Kipo isn't in a relationship, at least not in the show. And then I ended out the cred by saying, my guy, all I'm saying is that Kipo made me happy because Kipo herself never had a romantic plotline, not one that went anywhere at least since Benson is gay. So that was thread 2 of 3. We do have one more. This video is lengthy. Arthur, stop screaming, please. On to thread number 3. So this person has some sort of like role in their name that says Scarlemagne, so I guess we can call this person Scarlemagne. So Scarlemagne says, to the people saying Wolf is too young to know whether she's Aero, BS. Plenty of kids that age are well aware of who, if anyone, they're drawn to. I had classmates in 4th grade who had boyfriends/girlfriends. So this person is actually on my side in the opinions. The thread does not start out with somebody opposing me. In fact, it starts out with somebody defending my points made and saying, hey, a lot of these criticisms that poor old Tyler is getting are a bit unnecessary. So then somebody else responds, coming from an ace myself, kids are considered to have presexuality when they're little, too young to have sexual attraction. So glad to see that we're onto the sex thing again, even though I literally didn't say that. Kids can develop romantic attraction probably at any age, considering how preschool and kindergarten was full of little kid romance drama. People always treat kids like they're incapable of having any orientation until they're like a teenager, but sexual and romantic orientation comes in stages. I do find it kind of weird to say a 10-year-old is Aero ace judging by her lack of shown interest, because it could be anything. Again, I was talking about the time skip where she's older than me, but okay. But I also know people make a big problem of it overall and end up excluding LGBT plus youth, which is not cool. I agree, guys. A lot of people are like, oh my god, you're too young to know if you're gay. Oh my god, you're too young to know if you're trans. Which not only is scientifically disprovable, but also that's like saying, oh, you're too young to know that you're straight, or you're too young to know that you're cis. It's setting straight or cis as like a default, which I guess cis is the default, so that's a bit more understandable, but it's still very exclusionary, and again, at the end of the day, it is scientifically disprovable. And then they finish off their statement by saying, this is a big mess of a paragraph, but long story short, yes, it's not clear enough to write off Wolf as Aero ace. It's a headcanon, my guy. I'm not trying to claim that it's canon, but also people are sexualizing it and being exclusionary towards LGBT plus youth. So then I just kind of popped off. I keep getting comments like this and I'm not sure why for two reasons. Chief of which is that I am specifically talking about a time skip where she would have been 15/16. Also, I myself am 14 and some people are treating it as if I'm being predatory, which is odd. Thirdly, it's a headcanon. And I didn't talk about the asexual thing in the article. I just said a headcanon I have for her is aro ace, which has nothing to do with sex and way more to do with me associating the two so closely from personal experience. So then this person just straight up says, not gonna lie, I didn't read the article.
Child. Anyway, so.
Not gonna lie, I didn't read the article, so sorry about that. I totally don't want to get in the way of your headcanon. Headcanons are awesome and I love them. If I had known that, then I wouldn't have included that part at all. So this person is respectful. That first grade we went over first, that person was just plain rude. This person is nice and is admitting their faults and what they said and apologizing, which is good. And also rare to find in sort of any internet debate, because people think, oh, I can hide behind the screen, so I don't have to take responsibility.
Am I wrong? You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
I'm so sorry if I upset you at all. I really thought you were trying to say it's canon, she's aro ace or something. I don't know what's wrong with me today. You all started being very loud. My cat better not start yelling. Here, fine, I'll let you in. Goddamn. Archimedes, you wanna come up here? Okay. No, okay, baby. You're being a lot. Jesus Christ. Alright, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with this for now. But yeah, I don't really get why people always have to take somebody saying, I think blank is aro ace, and twist it into implications that it's pedophilic or sexualizing a child to think of them as not sexual. Yeah, that's just so weird. Like, we're saying not sexual, and then you're saying, oh my god, you're sexualizing a child. And it's like, what? No. Maybe it's them thinking it implies allosexual kids are gonna be thinking of sex. I don't know, but whatever it is, they're going way in the wrong direction. So this person went from, like, high-key, just, like, not knowing what they're talking about, which they clearly didn't because they read the article, to being like, okay, my bad, I agree with you. Which is cool. It's all good and I'm not offended or anything, just a little confused why this comment section is full of people calling me creepy for a headcanon. Yeah, it's just so weird. Okay, you need to get down. Stop yelling! God damn! I think your logic is that if a kid showing no interest makes them asexual, then kids with interest is sexual? I don't know. A good portion of it is probably aphobia in disguise of worrying for the kids. Discriminatory folks tend to blanket their bad opinions in less bad or even honorable sounding opinions so they can tear down whoever they're being discriminatory towards. This cat is just like walking around my feet and it's very distracting. It's like a whole TERF ideology that I talked about at the beginning of the video. About how TERFs are like, here's some very transphobic stuff, but oh, I'm not actually being transphobic, I'm just being a feminist. No, you're not. Feminism includes all women, so by discriminating against trans women, that's transphobic, my guy. And then I end off this final thread by saying, yeah. The people on the Kipo subreddit seem to just not know a lot about aspec issues. Overall, it's just a weird case of internet drama and people taking things too far. So, what can you take out of this? Well, hopefully I gave you some good education about aspec issues. But beyond that, I think that the main point is just, aspec headcanons are not predatory. As long as they're not hurting anyone, there's no reason to get mad or upset about it. And I don't know if you know this, but me saying that I headcanon Wolf to be aro ace because she doesn't have a partner in a time skip is not hurting anybody. I have nothing else to say to your lovely faces. Goodbye.